Let's just get this over with, shall we?
I don't know. I thought that was funny. I don't know why that was funny, but it was funny.
If you're really doing this, I want to help.
Yeah.
Huh?
That was funny. I don't know. I thought that was funny.
Once again, we're back with the Merry Maniacs at Box Office Maniacs.
Are you with me?
All the way.
I've been excited about since they announced that they were going to do standalone films for Star Wars. I was excited for this.
I don't want to spoil anything for you, Vince, but they've been doing standalone Star Wars things for quite a while now, called Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah, but they've never done a standalone movie.
It's canon. Everything that's in those animated movies exists within the Star Wars universe. So they're not just whatever, they're actual canon stuff.
You bring up that point, okay, about stuff being canon, and I remember back when they were getting ready to do The Force Awakens, they announced that all the expanded universe stuff, that wasn't going to be canon anymore. It was just they weren't going to put it into the Star Wars timeline.
They're talking about comics and books. They weren't talking about the Clone Wars show or the Rebels show.
But I'm bringing up that point because for years now, people have gone on and on and on about all the expanded stuff, and then when they said that they're not going to, push that stuff aside, people went ballistic. Star Wars fans of the expanded universe went ballistic. They were like, "No, you can't do that. Oh, we need our Grand Admiral Thrawn," So now we get a new Star Wars actual live-action film, standalone film, that's sort of, to a extent, an expanded universe. I don't know. These people don't get it. They don't understand it, and it's weird.
And as you know, anybody who watches this show knows that Vince and I are ridiculous Star Wars fans. We live Star Wars. We live and breathe Star Wars. We're Star Wars. We are Star Wars, Vince.
Yes, we are.
So when they announced Rogue One, I was like, oh, okay, now they're showing how they built a Death Star. I was like, all right. I was never that excited, to tell you the truth, to go see the movie.
I was super excited to go see the movie, but I knew it wasn't going to be about them building the Death Star.
I was excited because of Star Wars, obviously, and I'll do anything for Star Wars. I will stand outside for 9 hours in the freezing cold like I did with Force Awakens to see Star Wars, because it's Star Wars. So yeah, I was excited for Rogue One, but I wasn't overly excited.
Well, I was overly excited for it. I was excited for it either way. I didn't, and like you said, I would stand out there forever and go see a Star Wars film. And I was really pumped up for this because the way I saw it and the way that I tried to describe it to some of these people that didn't understand it, because there was a lot of people that didn't get it for some reason. And the way I described it to them was, this is the first time they're going to put something into the Star Wars timeline or the Star Wars universe that we know that isn't Luke Skywalker. It isn't Han Solo. It isn't, it's from a different perspective. It's from the Rebels perspective. And it's a new story. It's brand new characters, new story, and it's just from a different point of view.
That's great and all, but is it the fact that, does it work? That's my question. Does it work? Rogue One, I liked it. Didn't love it, I liked it. Now, there's a lot of reasons behind this. First of all, I'll tell you the first reason. You want to know what the first reason is, Vince?
Hit me with the first reason.
Okay, this is the biggest reason, I guess, out of the whole movie, is the fact when I went to go see The Force Awakens, I came out of that film and I knew who Rey was. I knew who Finn was. I knew who Poe Dameron was. And I was on cloud nine. I was like, man, these are great characters. I love these characters. These are the type of characters, I would go to the Mos Eisley canteen and hang out with these people, because they're cool people and they're fun people. This movie, I couldn't even tell you any of their names. I came out of the movie and I'm like, I don't remember one of those characters' names in that film. Not one, except for the robot, K2. That's the only person that I remember.
I would kind of agree with you on that. Kind of. Because, I mean, I loved all the characters in here. I thought every character in this movie was a strong character, and I liked every character in this film. I could probably go see this movie again, and as soon as it comes out on Blu-ray, I'll have it. So, you know, I'm going to watch it again.
I just found that all these characters were forgettable characters. I didn't think that any of them were strong characters. I just didn't think they were interesting. I didn't find their story interesting. I didn't find anything about these main characters interesting. The only character that I really liked that was only in the movie for probably 10 minutes was Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal Lecter?
Yeah, you know, her dad, Hannibal.
Jim, whatever I do it to protect you. So you understand?
I understand.
Oh, okay. I forgot he even played Hannibal Lecter.
He was a really cool character.
I totally disagree with that. I mean, I found a lot of the characters to be strong characters. As a matter of fact, that would be actually my disappointment in the film, was that there were so many strong characters in it that by the end of the film, and I don't want to give it away, but by the end of the film, you're disappointed because of what happens to all these strong characters.
You know, they didn't have any personality, Vince. Especially the main woman. I don't know what her name is.
State your name for the record.
Jin Urso.
I totally disagree.
They just had no personality. I mean, they were just bland. There was nothing to them.
Take hold of this moment. The force is strong.
Make 10 men feel like 100.
Even the blind guy was fun. I liked him.
You almost got me.
And the other guy with the beard.
You're welcome.
But they were just bland characters. There was nothing, no substance to them. They were just there.
I totally disagree.
There was just nothing to them, Vince.
I thought they were fantastic characters. I totally disagree with that.
Well, I talked to my wife about this, and she agreed with me 100%, just about. But her excuse was, well, they're supposed to be bland because they're supposed to be like a forgotten rogue one unit, and that's like, well, if you're going to make a movie about bland characters, the movie's going to come out the same way. I mean, you got to have good characters to have a good movie, and it didn't.
It wasn't bland at all. The characters weren't bland at all. I absolutely thought the characters were fantastic. I thought they did a great job with the characters.
The captain says you are a friend. I will not kill you.
K2 was the best character in the entire film. He was funny.
Where are you taking these prisoners?
He is taking us to quiet. And there's a fresh one if you mouth off again.
He had the robot had the most personality in the whole film.
Don't get me wrong, I think he was a fantastic character. I actually loved the droid as well, but I liked all the characters. The only character I think that could have been a little bit better, the one that promoted a lot in the trailers, was the guy, Krennic, I think his name is, the Imperial guy with the white cape and the robes and...
The bad guy wearing white. That's his name. Bad guy in white.
I will not fail.
I liked his character, but at the same time, I didn't think he was all that strong of a character. He could have been more strong. He could have been more evil. And he was to a point. I mean, he was still the bad guy, but he wasn't as evil as who eventually comes back into this film.
You're talking about Grand Moff Tarkin. I'm assuming that's who you're speaking of.
Which I thought was amazing that they put this other character from one of the previous Star Wars films into this movie.
CG was horrendous on him. Was horrendous. I literally, because we came out of the theater and I was sitting there arguing with my wife, and she's like, well, that was a CG character. And I'm like, no, that's just a guy that looks like him. And she's like, no, they were CGing his face to make him look like Grand Moff Tarkin. I said, no, that's just some dude that looks like Grand Moff Tarkin. We sitting there arguing about it because the CG was so bad, it looked like an actor playing Grand Moff Tarkin. It was terrible.
I didn't think it was bad at all, but then again, how else are you going to interject his character in here when the guy's dead?
Don't.
He was the guy that ran the Death Star.
I know, but again, they could have tried to get someone that looked like him and put practical effects on. I mean, instead of CGing it, some, I forgot what the guy's name is, Peter Cushing's face over. I just thought it was terrible.
They did that for episode 3, and for all about 3 seconds that Grand Moff Tarkin was in episode 3. And I'll tell you what, this looked 10 times better than that.
Now let's get to Vader. Vader's in this film too, right?
We can't spoil that one. He was in the trailers.
And you were talking about the bad guy in white. I mean, I didn't mind him. He was all right. But he didn't really bring, evil to the Empire.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, when Vader comes in it, obviously is Vader, and they should have had Vader in it as much or more than Grand Moff Tarkin. This would have been 1,000 times better.
Well, I can agree with that. I really wish they would have shown Vader a lot more than what they did. But I don't think they needed to take Tarkin out of it.
Yeah, they should have erased his face completely and just shot him out the exhaust port.
No, they didn't need to take him out of it. It was fine that he was in there.
Everything I've been saying, what I'm saying, it sounds like I hated the film, but actually I did not hate the film. I didn't like the actors that much. I didn't like their characters that much. But the actual film, it was cool to see different planets. It was cool to see new ships. It was cool to see different stuff in the Star Wars universe and different areas in it. It was cool to see all that stuff. I mean, I really enjoyed that. And probably the last 40 minutes of the movie I thought was really good once the battle starts. I loved all that. I was really into that. I think that was really great. And I liked all that stuff, but it just, I don't know, it just wasn't that great other than that.
I found the characters intriguing. I found them strong characters. I did just not as much with the bad guy. I didn't think he could have been stronger. He was strong, but he could have been stronger. I think it was done really well. I think they did a really good job on it. And I liked the film. I liked it. The only thing I didn't care for is it didn't get me as excited as I was when I walked out of the theater from seeing The Force Awakens. And I agree with you on that. When I walked out of the theater, I was like, I liked it, but I didn't have that, man, that was so good. And where I remembered it and took it all in for weeks at a time after more Force Awakens came out.
There is a 97.6% chance of failure.
He means well.
I absolutely love walking into a store or walking somewhere and seeing Star Wars everywhere. For being the Star Wars fan that I am. But at the same time, it's so tiring. Because it's everywhere. Because, do we really need Star Wars screwdrivers?
Well, in case your droid screws up, maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say, they brought out all the action figures and stuff, which I really wish they would stop doing that. They did that with the prequels. And the first time they did it with Phantom Menace, I didn't mind it too much. But when they did it with all 3 prequels, it was like... I don't want to know anything about the movie until it comes out. And then they bring out these characters and these action figures 3 months before the film comes out. So by the time the film comes out and you see it, it's not as exciting anymore. And that's why. Maybe that's why it wasn't exciting characters to you.
Yeah, it takes everything special out of the film. There's nothing special about it because you've seen it already. You've seen it drilled into your brain. That's why they need a screwdriver, so they can open up that plate on your head and then stick the chip in there and pump more Star Wars into your brain before you go see it.
I know it's Disney, and I know they paid tons of money to buy Lucasfilm, but come on, guys, we don't need Star Wars coffee tables. Come on, it's ridiculous. We don't need all that crap.
The one thing I loved about the movie, above everything else about the film, the one thing I enjoyed the most, and it really made the movie for me, was to see the rebels in the film act like they weren't organized. They had very little idea what they were doing in the film. Because when you watched A New Hope, they're all military commanders, and they all seem like they know what's going on. In this, they show, no, they have no idea. They're just kind of going to the seat of their pants. And I love that. I thought that was really great insight to this film, and I wish it was more like that than what they did to it. And that was one of my favorite parts of the whole movie.
At the same time, I wouldn't say they weren't completely organized. I mean, they had it together, but it was just at one point they're like, "Oh God, what do we do about this? This is something we've never faced before."
A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know what it is and how to destroy it.
I will say this, even being a Star Wars fan, okay, this definitely is a movie for Star Wars fans. There's a lot of stuff in here, a lot of Easter eggs, as they want to call them. There's a lot of stuff in here that's specifically for Star Wars fans. So if you've watched the movies tons and tons and tons of times, you're going to recognize this stuff like right off. Even when they don't show it and they just talk about it, you go, "Oh, yeah, I know what he's talking about." But if you're not a Star Wars fan, you're going to be lost. You're not going to understand what they're getting at. Or even if you're a casual Star Wars fan, you're not going to understand it.
And that, Vince, what you just said right there, is the number one big problem with this film. If they took the name Star Wars off of this film, it came out like this, there was no Star Wars universe, it would be gone within a few weeks. There would be, because there's no substance here unless it's Star Wars, which is the problem with this film.
I think a lot of people, when they started showing all this stuff, people were confused by it because they didn't see any Jedi. They didn't see any Luke Skywalker. They didn't see R2-D2. They didn't see, what is normal Star Wars for them. So they didn't see any of that in there, so they're like, what has this got to do with Star Wars? But that's also why they called it Rogue One, a Star Wars story. It's Star Wars, but it's not Star Wars, is what I'm getting at.
This is a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel.
I hope that it does grow on me. Obviously, I might go see it again. And obviously I'm going to buy the Blu-ray when it comes out. But I do hope with more viewings, maybe I will enjoy it more. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. But for right now, I'm giving Rogue One a 4 out of 5.
And I know this is going to shock you, Dave.
I don't think it's going to shock me, Vince.
I know this is going to shock you, Dave, because
I don't think it's going to hit me. I don't think I'm going to get shocked too hard on this.
I would have to give Rogue One, a Star Wars story, a 4 out of 5.
Well, what?
I told you it was going to shock you, Dave.
What did you say, Vince? What?
I said a 4 out of 5. Are you shocked?
I am. What the?
Because I liked the film. I did enjoy the film. I thought it was a great film. But it wasn't Force Awakens great. It wasn't the original trilogy great. It didn't have the impact that those other films did.
I am shocked. I am truly shocked by that, Vince. Truly shocked. You did shock me.
So I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I think I got a lot more out of it than you did.
I think I hurt myself.
Punch it.
May the Force be with us.
So, if you like this review, make sure you hit that subscribe button so we can see you next year when the next Star Wars comes out.
And just hit that subscribe button no matter what. Just go ahead and hit it because you're going to do it anyway, and we're going to be here whether you like it or not. So hit it, enjoy it, and we'll see you in 2017 with Star Wars Episode 8.